our artisans, they need to do 4 years of training to be able to manufacture a Kelly bag. This that you've just seen, the perlage, you need to be very skilled and very, very good.
Some of Hermes products are made in China. Towels are from Fuyue in Shandong. They also make products for Chanel and IKEA. Beddings are from Yue in Shandong. Men's shoes are from Shachi in Shandong. Tableware are from Gaochun in Jiangsu.
It was my first time shopping at Hermes, and let me tell you how it went.
We got a lot of requests, do Hermes next. And that's why we're here in the Highland Park Mall.
In Italy, made in China, or maybe made in Chile. Oh yeah, that should be a thing, by the way, because some brands get real creative when it comes to made in Italy.
The luxury world isn't just having a bad day. It's in full-blown free fall. For decades, Hermès and Louis Vuitton stood at the top of the fashion food chain, wrapped in an aura of perfection that few dared to question. They sold us a dream, a seductive fantasy of handmade artistry, secret ateliers in the French countryside, and impossibly rare materials touched only by master artisans. Every stitch, every clasp, every brushed leather surface was marketed like a sacred ritual. And we bought it, not just with our wallets, but with our trust, with our pride. Owning a Louis Vuitton bag or an Hermès Birkin wasn't just a purchase. It was a status symbol, a badge of honor.
Almost finished bags from China factories, back to their own factories, and just do the repackaging and logo installing, something like that.
The Chinese supplier behind product. Bags are from Siton Handbag in Dongguan City, Guangdong Province. It's a factory specializing in handbags for 54 years. And it produces 80% of the world luxury bags.
Put the finishing touches on a Kelly, the most difficult bag to build. It starts with 30 distinct cuts of leather and can take 20 hours to complete, 4 hours for just the handle. There are no manuals or cheat sheets. Artisans rely on their training and muscle memory to make every bag.
So Hermès has put out a response to China, and they have like a video in a factory sort of showing people trying to show that they're actually the ones who are making the bags in a factory somewhere in France.
Spent over $100,000 of my own money dissecting luxury bags, cutting them open, analyzing every stitch, every layer. Why? Because I had to know what made those bags so expensive.
Started making his boots in China, and that is these boots right here. This is pretty much the Ugg boot that like most Americans will have in their house. I was very pissed off when I found out the truth because I grew up in Southern California. I remember being in elementary school when I would only see 2 people in the entire school wearing Ugg boots, and they were always the cool surfer kid.
Those bags I cut open, just expensive, nothing special, but a few truly exceptional.
Proof that you belong to an exclusive club. But that fantasy? It's dead, buried, exposed as the hollow lie it always was. Because Chinese factory workers, fed up with being the invisible hands behind the so-called artistry, just ripped the silk curtains down. And what they revealed isn't pretty. It's not a story of handcrafted excellence. It's a story of mass production, of shortcuts, of greed disguised as tradition. What's really behind the billion-dollar logos? Grimy assembly lines. Bulk leather sourced from the same suppliers as mid-tier brands. Workers cranking out so-called exclusive designs by the hundreds with little.
As your daughter drawing on your $60,000 Birkin, am I right?
Yeah. I couldn't even be mad at her because when I asked her, I was like, I wanted to see if she was gonna tell me the truth. I was like, Coach, did you draw on mommy's purse?
Literally spent $60,000 on this purse. Look what my daughter did to my purse.
Where I keep all my purses. This one here is really special. If my house is on fire, I would take this one out of all of them.
Unbox my latest Hermès bag with me. This is my first bag I got this year. I usually get 1 bag a year, and this is the one for this year. And I'm really excited about it.
You walk into Hermes and say, hey, I want to buy one of these. You know what they say to you? No, we don't have them. First of all, you have to be an Hermes customers. You have to demonstrate that you like the brand. And then you can only buy 1 per year.
I've been speaking to this client here regarding selling her Birkin 30 Gris Etain, if I'm not wrong. Grey Etain is the color, and it's palladium hardware. The bag is in box fresh condition, but it's Y stamp, which means it's a 2021 piece.
More than a stopwatch and a production quota to guide them. The entire luxury industry just got caught naked, and the backlash is turning the old world empires upside down. Reputation shattered. Revenue collapsing. CEOs allegedly sweating bullets behind closed doors as shareholders demand blood. And the craziest part? This might only be the beginning. It didn't start with a massive investigation. It didn't start with some daring undercover journalist. No, it started with a whisper. A TikTok here, a leaked video there. Grainy footage filmed with trembling hands inside dimly lit factories in China. At first, people didn't believe it. How could they? The idea that Hermès, the holiest of luxury brands, was outsourcing to the same factories that make cheap knockoffs? It sounded impossible, blasphemous even, but the whispers grew louder. Factory workers, real people who spent their days stitching seams and gluing soles, began telling their stories. And once they started, there was no stopping it. They revealed that the so-called handmade masterpieces weren't lovingly crafted in picturesque Parisian workshops. They were being churned out on assembly lines, sandwiched between mass markets, sneakers, and wallet production runs. No slow, meticulous artistry, no ancient, time-honored traditions. Just industrial speed and cold, calculated efficiency. And the betrayal didn't end there. In one jaw-dropping YouTube expose, a factory manager openly laughed about it. According to him, the only real difference between a $100 bag and a $10,000 Hermes purse? The sticker price, he sneered. Same workers, same materials, same machines, you're paying for a story. And that story, the one customers clung to, just crumbled into dust. But if you think that's where the horror show ends, think again, because what they revealed next hit even harder. Brace yourself, because if you thought you were getting what you paid for, think again. The workers didn't just reveal that luxury goods were mass-produced, they pulled back the curtain on the real production costs. And it's enough to make even the most die-hard fashionistas feel sick. Many Louis Vuitton bags, factory insiders revealed, cost less than $100 in total to produce. That's materials, labor, shipping, the whole shebang. Think about that for a second. You're dropping $2,000, $3,000, even $5,000 for a bag that cost the company less than what you'd pay for a fancy dinner date, less than a new pair of sneakers, less than a weekend at a modest Airbnb. And here's where it gets even dirtier. Those pristine Made in France labels? Yeah, allegedly, they're slapped onto products that were mostly built and stitched in China. The finishing touches, maybe a button or a strap, are done in France just so the brand can legally market it as French-made. It's the biggest bait and switch the luxury world has ever pulled, and millions of loyal customers fell for it. One former Hermès employee even confessed that sales associates were trained not to tell customers too much about production origins. The entire buying experience was carefully scripted, a performance designed to make shoppers feel like they were stepping into history, even if the truth was closer to stepping into a factory in Guangdong. It wasn't about craftsmanship, it was about selling a story, and that story, we now know, was built on a mountain of lies. But believe it or not, the pricing scam was only the tip of the iceberg. Because behind the scenes, the people running these luxury empires were already panicking. Behind the polished marble walls and velvet-draped boardrooms of Hermes and LVMH, there's no celebration happening, no toasts with rare vintage champagne, no smug pats on the back. Instead, it's chaos. Sources say the mood inside these luxury giants has turned desperate. Leaked memos are circulating, memos that don't sugarcoat the crisis. At Hermès, executives are allegedly holding back-to-back emergency meetings, desperately brainstorming how to contain the fallout. At Louis Vuitton, it's the same story. An endless parade of damage control strategies, PR firefighting sessions, and frantic calls to consultants because store traffic isn't just down. It's collapsing, revenue projections sliced in half overnight. Brand sentiment free-falling into territory once thought unimaginable for the kings of luxury, and insiders are pointing fingers fast. Board members are reportedly demanding explanations, and, if rumors are to be believed, they're not interested in excuses. They want heads on platters if this train wreck isn't reversed by next quarter. One Hermès memo leaked to YouTube left a chill in the air. Our credibility is dying faster than we can save it. Think about that. This isn't coming from critics or journalists. It's coming from inside the companies themselves, because when the illusion cracks, no amount of marketing magic can glue it back together. And what's happening outside those boardrooms? It's even uglier. The devastation isn't just buried in financial spreadsheets. You can see it plain as day on the streets. Walk into a Louis Vuitton boutique today, and it feels like stepping into a ghost town. No bustling lines, no velvet ropes, no whispers of excitement from customers clutching numbered tickets. Instead, vacant displays, lonely sales associates trying to look busy, the sad echo of luxury's fall from grace. Once upon a time, Hermes stores had waiting lists stretching months, even years, for their most coveted bags. You couldn't even breathe near a Birkin without an appointment secured by elite spending history. Now, walk-ins are welcome. Desperately so. You can stroll in off the street and browse entire shelves of merchandise that nobody seems to want anymore. It's not just happening in Paris or New York either. From Tokyo's Ginza district to Beverly Hills Rodeo Drive, once thriving, temples of luxury shopping. Videos are flooding YouTube showing eerily empty stores. Boutiques that once had 2-hour waits and velvet-roped exclusivity are now barren wastelands. A silent, devastating reminder. When you break trust, you break everything. Because the illusion of scarcity, the magic spell that made people camp outside stores and shell out thousands for a single item, is dead. And the people who once worshipped at the altar of luxury, they aren't mourning, they're furious. Luxury buyers aren't walking away quietly. They're flipping tables on the way out. Outraged customers, burned by the revelations, are leading a full-blown boycott movement against Hermès and Louis Vuitton. And it's not just a few disgruntled influencers whispering into the void. Major fashion figures, the same ones who once proudly flaunted their Birkins and Speedies on TikTok and Instagram, are now torching their loyalty in public. They're calling out Hermès and Louis Vuitton for selling lies, for manipulating customer loyalty, for treating buyers like gullible wallets instead of discerning customers. One viral TikTok didn't hold back, bluntly stating, "You didn't buy heritage, you bought a $70 bag with a $3,000 ego tax." And the sentiment is catching fire. Creators are uploading videos shredding their Hermès scarves, cutting up Louis Vuitton shopping bags, and dramatically throwing once-prized handbags into trash bins, all set to trending exposing music tracks. Some influencers have gone even further, posting entire exposé series breaking down receipts, production costs, and branding tactics that allegedly deceived millions. Clip 10. The Fall of Luxury Fashion. An influencer's take. Luxury brands built their fortunes on the idea that customers were part of something rare. Now, those same customers are tearing down the myth, one viral video at a time. And for Hermès and Louis Vuitton, the nightmare is just beginning. When billions start evaporating, it's not just the stock price that falls, it's careers. And right now, the careers of some of the biggest names in luxury are allegedly hanging by a thread. Sources close to Hermès and LVMH claim the situation behind closed doors has hit critical mass. It's no longer a matter of, can we fix this? It's a matter of, who's going to pay for it with their job? At Hermès, the spotlight has turned scorching on CEO Axel Dumas. Once hailed as the calm steward who led Hermès to record profits, Dumas now faces mounting pressure from furious board members and enraged investors. They aren't interested in past glories anymore. They're asking the brutal question no CEO ever wants to hear. What have you done for us lately? And lately, Axel Dumas has presided over a brand in freefall, a reputation in ruins, and a customer base revolting in real time across social media. But it's not just Hermès where heads could roll. At LVMH, the luxury empire ruled by the famously ruthless Bernard Arnault, the tension is reportedly nuclear. Multiple executives under the LVMH umbrella, especially those tied to Louis Vuitton's brand management, are allegedly being sized up for termination. Whispers inside LVMH say Arnault himself is furious over the mismanagement of the scandal. Instead of getting ahead of the narrative, LVMH allegedly stumbled, denied, and dismissed, and now they're paying the price. It's almost impossible to walk back from them. The question hanging in the air right now isn't if someone's getting fired, it's who and how soon. And judging by the fury boiling over in boardrooms from Paris to New York, the luxury world could be seeing some very public executive casualties before this scandal is even halfway finished. And it's not just Hermès and Louis Vuitton feeling the heat. The entire luxury sector is trembling. Gucci, Prada, Balenciaga, they're all watching the backlash grow and wondering if they're next. Analysts are warning that luxury fashion could be facing its biggest crash in decades. Because when customers realize they've been paying for marketing instead of quality, they don't forgive, they walk away, and they don't come back. The truth is out. The myth has been exposed. Luxury isn't about craftsmanship anymore. It's about illusion. An illusion that's been brutally ripped apart by a few brave factory workers who finally said enough. For decades, luxury brands counted on customers believing they were buying something rare, precious, sacred. Now, they're just another mass market. Hustle with a fancier price tag. And without the myth, what's left? Hermès, Louis Vuitton. Brands that once stood atop the fashion world, now exposed for what they really are. Customers aren't just angry. They're done. The luxury house of cards is collapsing, one exposed stitch at a time. And the bigger question everyone's asking now, if luxury was always a lie, why did we believe it for so long? Because once you see the truth, you can't unsee it. And the empire built on illusion, it's crumbling faster than even the harshest critics ever imagined.